What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we analyze the 7th December edition of the Red Brand and look at the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including Becky's baby is here, the new Thunderdome looks awesome, how the WWE pulled off the Fiend's appearance, Charlotte Flair's return plans revealed, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Oh yeah, I also have a third channel, and I promise I won't try to keep plugging this, but if you can check it out, that would be awesome. As always, we won't waste your time recapping the matches, but we will take a look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from last night's show. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Sheamus and Drew's broship. The Drew McIntyre and Sheamus bromance broship is an interesting storyline with considerable potential if it plays out right. Having Sheamus accidentally bro-kick Drew during the match was a good tease, as was the pair's backstage brawl that showed them fighting their way back to a reconciliation. Even better was Keith Lee telling Sheamus he knows he'll turn on Drew, which could be a swerve for Lee to turn heel or plain foreshadowing. Either way, it was entertaining and a reminder that WWE can write compelling television. Number 2, The Fiend out of nowhere. Last night's match between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton was a reminder that just when you think you've seen it all with Bray Wyatt, there's more mayhem waiting to be unleashed, as seen when Randall hit the RKO on Bray Wyatt during their main event match. The lights went out and Orton looked down to see the Fiend in Wyatt's place, with Wyatt's demonic doppelganger quickly applying the mandible claw. It was a sensational spot and a great way to further the feud between Orton and Wyatt. And forget the RKO out of nowhere, that's so 2008. Now the WWE Universe never knows when the Fiend will show up, even when Bray Wyatt is wrestling. And wondering how the WWE did it? Well, be sure to check out the news later in the video. Number 3, the Hardy Bros. Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle, a tag team that makes sense on so many levels, whether it's both wrestlers' high-flying style or their unique personalities. While the WWE's efforts with its tag team division is slapdash at best, Hardy and Riddle have the potential to become more than a hastily thrown team, and one more akin to an all-star team that helps elevate Riddle until a slot opens up for him to focus on singles competition. As we've noted many times, the WWE's tag team division is a mess, largely by its own design, and a fresh and exciting team like the Hardy Bros could help the tag ranks a lot. Number 4, Heels win handicap. It's not too often that heels win handicap matches, as the entire idea of babyfaces overcoming the numbers game makes for compelling storytelling. However, having Drew McIntyre and Sheamus lose to AJ Styles, The Miz and John Morrison was the right call, not only to build up AJ vs Drew's TLC match, but to tease the tension between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, a powerful team that has one flaw: the very real possibility that Sheamus will turn on the King of Claymore Country when the opportunity presents itself. That was the good. What about the bad is number 1, a throwaway match. Now what should have been a carefully crafted storyline leading to a potential dream match turned into anything but, as the WWE hastily threw Raw Women's Champion up against Shayna Baszler. Baszler's fall from grace as a single star has been well documented, but the fact that the Raw Women's Champion fought Baszler as part of the build-up for a tag team program shows fans just how little the WWE cares about these two extremely gifted and capable wrestlers. Raw is known for its throwaway matches where two wrestlers or two teams seem to be thrown together against each other with no planning. However, taking what could have been a marquee match on pay-per-view and treating it as filler isn't just bad booking, it's a sign of how bad the Raw Women's division is, with the WWE seemingly content on keeping things on hold until Becky Lynch's return. Number 2, crummy comedy. The Miz and Morrison are two of the funniest performers in the WWE and excellent wrestlers to boot, capable of taking the lamest jokes and making them funny. However, even they couldn't elevate the garbage given to them by the WWE's writers this week. Whether it was the lame jokes on Miz TV or the duo's interaction with Sheamus backstage mocking the Celtic Warrior and Drew McIntyre's accents and culture, there was zero laughs to be found. As funny as The Miz and Morrison are, they could quickly lose their edge if the WWE keeps writing dreadful dialogue for them. By the way, all comedy aside, that was a hell of a throw from McIntyre. That dude launched that briefcase all the way to the Titantron. I think he even broke a piece of it. But that was the bad. What about the downright ugly? And yes, we need to talk about this. As just when things seem as if they couldn't get any worse for Retribution, the WWE has them on another losing streak with this week's loss to the team of Ricochet and Dana Brooke. Retribution leader Mustafa Ali dressed down Slapjack and Reckoning after they dropped the mixed tag match to the two WWE lightweights, with more cracks showing in the Rogue faction. Retribution was a promising idea as fans wondered who the masked menaces were attacking the WWE superstars. However, once the group debuted officially, they were booked as enhancement talent, and even the promising reveal of Mustafa Ali being the group's leader was quickly wasted, with the group portrayed as dangerous as a box of kittens. Vince Russo claims that the WWE suggested both Retribution and Raw Underground as two big storylines to the USA Network after USA expressed its unhappiness with Raw's ratings. Now, whether or not Russo's story is accurate, it's clear the WWE has dropped the ball on both storylines. The only positive from the Retribution angle is that Mercedes Martinez managed to avoid being part of it. But what did you guys think of Raw this week? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at Becky and Seth's baby being born. Congratulations to Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, as the wrestling couple are now proud parents. Lynch posted a picture on Instagram of her newborn in a pink onesie, with her and Seth holding the bouncing baby girl. The message read, "Welcome to the world, Rue. You are the love of our lives. #and new." A massive congratulations to Becky and Seth on this momentous occasion. It's pretty mad to think that it's been 9 months already. Obviously, that's when we found out. Next up, how the WWE pulled off the Fiend's appearance. Can two people be in the same place at one time? No, well, obviously not, but fans are still wondering how Bray Wyatt's terrifying twin The Fiend showed up during Bray's match against Randy Orton. Orton covered Wyatt for the pin and the lights went out, only for The Fiend to be lying on the mat apron in Wyatt's place. Did Wyatt roll out of the ring and a Fiend stunt double take his place? Well, not according to Ringside News, who mentioned, when The Fiend appeared, the Thunderdome screens were all blank. There were no live reactions from fans because they didn't watch that part live. It was pre-taped before the show. WWE was also running down to the nitty-gritty on time, and the show needed to end at a specific point. They hit their mark, killed the lights, and pulled off a Wyatt switch. Well, the WWE's production team continues to excel at pulling off stunts like this on live television that require exact timing, and it made for one of 2020's most memorable moments in wrestling. I mean, to be honest, whilst you think that's just switching over from a live broadcast to a pre-taped broadcast, it was done seamlessly well. Next up, Charlotte Flair's return plans have been revealed. Now, there have been a number of rumors about the Queen Charlotte Flair returning to the WWE, but it looks like the WWE is preparing for when she does arrive. In fact, Flair may be coming back with a new ally, none other than real-life fiancé Andrade. The reliable WrestleVotes tweeted potential plans for the pair, saying, "An idea that's been discussed, however not determined at this point, is an on-screen pairing of Charlotte and Andrade when they return to television. The idea behind it is to use Charlotte's star power to elevate Andrade into the main event scene. Andrade is a talented star who had a memorable run as United States Champion before falling by the wayside when Paul Heyman left as Raw's Executive Director of Creative. Do you think the WWE should pair Flair and Andrade on screen? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, the new Thunderdome looks awesome. Now, fans thought the first Thunderdome was exciting. As the saying goes, you ain't seen nothing yet. The WWE Thunderdome is moving from the Amway Center to the Tropicana Field, and as exciting as the original home was, its new home looks even more spectacular. Honestly, it reminds me of like WrestleMania 19, but we're getting that kind of image on Raw and SmackDown. That's if I hope the WWE doesn't curtain off all of it. They should leave the open stadium structure as it is. Yes, it may be empty, but it gives it that grandness. Next up, Shaquille O'Neal on Dynamite this Wednesday. A big announcement from All Elite Wrestling as the promotion recently tweeted, "Breaking news, Shaq addresses AEW with Tony Schiavone." AEW has been laying the groundwork for a potential program with Shaq, as seen by newcomer Jade Cargill confronting Cody Rhodes and dropping Shaq's name. And don't be surprised to see Shaq in the ring at some point in 2021, as fans know he is a lifelong fan and has competed before. Next up, a controversial superstar makes his return. The rumors of Jackson Ryker's release have been greatly exaggerated, as the former Forgotten Sons member is back on WWE television. Well, at least if you consider main event to mean anything. Fightful Select is reporting that Ryker was at the main event tapings in the Thunderdome before Raw. Now, it should prove interesting whether or not the WWE keeps Jackson around, and it's likely the WWE is using him as they don't want to pay him to sit at home when they can try him out with Elias. Gee, they really do look identical in the picture, don't they? And finally, where was Alexa Bliss? Last but not least, Alexa Bliss has become a big part of Bray Wyatt's character, as well as an integral player in his feud with Randy Orton, so fans are curious why she didn't show up on this week's Raw. Well, it turns out that Bliss was in Hollywood working with Charlotte Flair as part of a new project, at least according to Devon Dudley. Brother Dudley announced via Cameo that he's helping produce a reboot of the 80s TV show Punky Brewster, and that Charlotte and Alexa were there with him, so that explains it. But there you have it, guys, the good, the bad and the downright ugly from this week's edition of Raw, as well as the wildest wrestling news stories. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and check out Incredible if you can, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.